Holy moly. Here, we've got a full war breaking out. I don't even know what to make of this.
What is going on, Governor? It's Chisgule here, and today we're going to talk about how my alliance was caught off guard by what I'm calling a Trojan Horse style attack. Savage. We're going to be talking all about this particular maneuver and other maneuvers that you can use in war. You should like and subscribe if you're into that. This is going to be one of many videos where we go in depth on different tactics and strategies. With that said, we are sponsored by the makers of Rise of Civilizations, and let's get started with the tactics. So we're minding our own business, and there turns out to be some drama in Kingdom Chat. The next thing we know, we're under attack. Now, of course, you might expect that with drama in Kingdom Chat, that some sort of conflict would happen. But we thought we were relatively safe because we're in the area by the Lost Temple. And this particular conflict was with folks that were nowhere near us. In fact, they weren't in the level 3 pass area at all. So, how does an alliance get into your turf when they don't have access to a pass? In this case, they did something that I'm calling a Trojan Horse style attack, named after, yes, that historical occurrence or myth or story, in which they essentially snuck in through another alliance. They snuck in through another alliance, and this is not good for the other alliance, and it certainly wasn't particularly good for us. Here's how this works. A whole bunch of their members applied to join an alliance that was in our level 3 pass area. Those members teleported in now that they had access, and then they proceeded to start attacking our cities now that they could attack us. Now, in this case, it happened to be a handful of very, very powerful players that all did this maneuver together. We're talking 20 million plus power, several in the 50 million plus power range, and they can do a lot of damage in a short period of time. And frankly, this is the advantage of having a small group of people with a high amount of power, is that you can do really quick tactical strikes. Of course, the disadvantage is that, well, there's only a few of you, and our alliance did ultimately react. And much like a battleship, although we are slower to react, we're quite mighty when we all align on what it is that we are wanting to accomplish. So how could we have prevented ourselves from this style of attack, and why is this a really big deal? This attack has very negative implications for the alliance that let them in. And that's not even to say that they did it on purpose. In fact, it's my understanding that one of the alts of one of the folks who sort of snuck in was somehow an officer of this alliance because they'd spent some time with them in the past and they were previously very close with them. So if you are not in tight control of who is actually joining your ranks, if you don't understand why people are joining your ranks, you can get into a lot of trouble. And if you are in one of these sort of prestigious areas, in this case, the area around the Lost Temple is a very prestigious place to be farming resources and to be able to participate fully in kingdom activities, you need to control the border. And so your role as one of the members that is holding a pass is to be responsible for that pass. And if you let people in that don't belong, if you let people in who are trying to wage war against other members of that level, of that Lost Kingdom area, then the alphas that control that area have to respond. They're obligated to secure the borders. So this puts the members of this particular alliance in a very risky position because even though they didn't know what was happening, because they didn't tightly control their membership and people joined and they did stuff that they're not supposed to do, we have to do something to try to control the border now. And I don't know what that measure will ultimately be, but it's probably not very good for the alliance that enabled this scenario to happen, even though their role was minimal. If you're an alliance leader, get control over who is going in and out of your alliance. That's very important. Now, the other thing that put us in a really precarious position is that we've got a lot of our cities on the edges of our territory so that lots of good resources can spawn in the middle of our flag area. But this makes us very, very vulnerable to getting zeroed. And you see in this video that several of our members get hit really, really hard before enough of our own folks can respond. And frankly, like when something like this happens, it just step into the shoes for a second. Folks with 50 million plus power show up. I mean, if you're the first person to port over, are you just going to have all your troops die? And in fact, you'll see in this video that one of our allies ports over to help. He's not even in our alliance, but he's in our sort of family of other alliances and friends. And he comes over to help, and the folks that were invading all swap over to him. Now, the funny thing is that you'll see in the battle report that I show on the screen at some point during this video that he doesn't take that much damage. In fact, the attackers took a lot of damage, which was sort of surprising to me. So, regardless of the underlying drama that resulted in this situation, I want to establish that I have a lot of respect for the players in this kingdom. And in my personal perfect world, we would be in a state of prosperous peace in which everyone could be benefiting, in which everyone could be growing. But that does not seem to be the case right now. So, my friends, I hope you found this video helpful and interesting. We've got a lot more war-related stuff to cover. And if you were trying to execute this tactic, you could get a lot done. The only problem is that you really need to keep in mind the sort of peril you might be putting the alliance into that you're using for a Trojan horse attack. If this video was helpful and interesting, please do like and subscribe. And until next time, my friends, you have fun smashing the kingdom.